So today I'm going to start off with a quote. It goes like this. You don't need extreme volume to make gains. Most people get impressive results with 4 to 6 sets per muscle group per week. Answers down below. Who said that? Now let's just break that down. You don't need extreme volume to make gains. What would you guys consider to be extreme volume? 30, 40 sets, 50, 52, 45? I would consider that to be pretty extreme. Most people get impressive results. Most people. So most people would include you, me, pretty much anyone watching this YouTube video right now, with 4 to 6 sets per muscle group per week. Personally, I think that's a bit low, but you know what? It's on the right lines. And God knows it's a nice change from the high volume BS that we've been fed over the last 10 to 15 years. So did you manage to figure out who said that? Well, I'll tell you who said it. A certain Mr. 52 sets per week. A certain Mr. High volume training. Are there still any doubts? A certain Mr. Didn't blind the majority of his studies. A certain Mr. His results from his lab come out to be roughly 4 times the amount from any other lab for the equivalent volume. And I wonder why. It was Mr. Brad Schoenfeld. So here's what I think happens with fads. I think each fad has a life cycle. So just for context, if you guys don't know who I am, what my history is, I've been training for 26 years. So I started training in the 90s, last century. And I've also been in contact with the muscle mags, the internet. So I've been witness to the fads and the trends which have come and which have gone. I'm very familiar with spotting a grifter and spotting a huckster.
There we go, all the way to failure.
That's my failure.
So this is what I've seen to be the life cycle of any fad over the years. Essentially just 3 phases: beginning, the middle, and the end. In the beginning, this is phase 1. This is the discovery phase, where you have the introduction of a new fad. And listen, nothing's ever new. It's all recycled. The high volume fad, which started to gain steam in 2010, was simply an answer to the low volume HIT and physiology bros of the 90s and the 2000s, which was also an answer to the high volume bodybuilders and the bros of the 80s. It's all cyclical. So here's the life cycle of a fad. Discovery phase. An idea gets promoted which isn't currently in the mainstream. You start to see some key players saying, hey guys, I think we might be onto something. It could be the discovery of a training routine. It could be a study, whatever else. In this case, it was studies. Then that goes on for a couple of years. It starts to gain steam and leads to phase 2, which is the bulk of the phase. And that is when the phase is just peak BS. Everyone accepts it. Well, mostly everyone accepts it. Certainly new people to the industry. Those are the ones who are the most aggressive in the comments, going, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about length and partials or whatever else. Then that goes on for the majority of the time, multiple years, and that leads to phase 3. Phase 3 is when things die out. And that's when these grifters, they'll protect themselves. So they start to gaslight the audience and say things like, you know what? It was content creators. You miscommunicated our ideas. Fitness content creators, they don't really know what they're talking about. They misinterpreted my ideas. Those are the guys who are lying to you. Not me, I'm telling you the sensible stuff. This is normally when they start to walk it back. And that's kind of where we're at now with Brad. He's walking it back because he's at the age now where he's sort of making his exit from the industry. Now, because these fads can last 10 to 15 years, and they generally do, if you got involved in lifting, say at a relatively young age in your best years, and you wanted to make gains, but you were caught up in this bullshit, you might make absolutely mediocre progress for those first and best years of your training life, leading you to stagnation and also psychologically a lesser opinion of yourself than you should have. And in contrast to that, let me tell you what I did. Okay. So I started training in 1999. And right from day one, the quote that I lived by was this: progressive poundages in good standardized form in a bodybuilding rep range. That was all I was ever interested in. Just getting stronger in reasonable form for a reasonable rep range. That's why I didn't waste any time. And within 3 to 4 years, I was an advanced lifter by anyone's standards. And the rest of the time was just spent getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's how I did it, because I didn't spend time wasted by being gullible and foolish, listening to the wrong people. And because of that, I achieved the physique that I achieved. I achieved a physique which regularly gets me PED accusations on here. And you know why? It's because the guys who make those accusations have got such low standards for themselves. That's why. They were fooled. They were gullible. So as soon as they see somebody who was actually focused for 3 decades, they immediately go, ha, Peds. No, numbnuts. It's because I didn't waste my time listening to stupid people, even at a young age. I knew I had to get stronger to get bigger. It's not rocket science. None of this stuff is. If something is in your program and it's not helping you to achieve a stronger 5 to 15 rep max, then throw it out. If it does not help you improve your 5 to 15 rep max, throw it out. I mean, I'm smiling, but to be honest, this stuff, if it wasn't so tragic, if people weren't actually wasting their time, like the best years of their life, it would be funny. And the next thing I want to talk about is just potentially one of the reasons why I think people get so committed to bad ideas, like high volume, like length and partials, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's because they don't want to admit to themselves that they've wasted their time being gullible and listening to these fads, because it's a confirmation that they're low IQ. These fads are essentially an IQ test, like power building, like length and partials, like high volume. It's an IQ test. And a fair few people, not the majority of my audience, but a fair few people have failed that test tragically over and over again and lost the best years of their training life because of that to a guy who's now in the process of walking it all back. Do you not see how hilarious this is? Here's a quick example, which the OGs of my channel will recognize, a guy called Ron. Ron was a guy who I met in the late 90s and early 2000s. He was on the forums and he sort of positioned himself as a science guy. So anyway, Ron and I used to argue a lot, okay? And it got tiring. It honestly got tiring because my only sole purpose on those forums was to promote the idea of, hey, why don't we all just get stronger? You know, in a reasonable bodybuilding rep range with good form from day one. As an 18-year-old, that's what I believed in. And I said, hey, why don't we just focus on that? Ron would just slam me over and over again. And I was a kid. I was 18 years old. I wasn't really able to talk science with him. And he would sort of run rings around me with his scientific articles and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, I was like, well, that's great and everything, but how much do you bench? And that was kind of how our arguments went. But turns out I actually saw Ron come up on my Facebook suggested friends a few years ago. And obviously out of curiosity, I had to click on his profile and I saw what he currently looks like. Didn't gain an ounce of muscle in over 3 decades. So I give you that as a warning, an example and a warning. Don't be like Ron. Don't have all the gear and no idea. All the studies and nothing to back it up. Because that's what happens. So I'm going to end with a warning. If it doesn't fit this maxim, don't bother with it. Progressive poundage is in a good standardized form for a bodybuilding rep range. If it doesn't fit that, throw it out. If it doesn't help you to improve your 5 to 15 rep max, throw it out. If you just stay loyal to my phrase, that phrase, if you just stay loyal to that, if you take nothing else from this channel, take that, you will be fine. You'll be able to navigate your way through these fads. I often get asked by young people, well, how do I navigate my way through these fads? That's how. Just follow that maxim and you'll be okay.